Most people are comparing Claude and Codex the wrong way. They're asking which one writes better code, which one is smarter, which one gives better answers, and which one feels better in a chat. This is not really the difference anymore. The real difference is that OpenAI and Anthropic are building two completely different types of agents. Claude is moving towards structured work, clear scopes, connectors, MCPs, files, defined permissions, what they're calling knowledge work. Codex is moving towards computer work, screens, apps, browsers, background tasks, parallel agents, and the ability to operate software through the same interface a human uses. And that difference matters because if you are a business owner, consultant, or even an agency owner, this is not just some nerd debate. It tells you which tool should be used for which kind of work, and it tells you where AI automation is going next. If you don't know me, my name's David Murillo. Since 2018, I've been deep in the world of automation, growth, agencies, and business operating systems. I've worked with hundreds of agencies, taught thousands of business owners and marketers, and hosted or sponsored more than 20 in-person events in the marketing and agency space. I was early in the Go High level agency community, and because of that, I was blessed to be able to help agencies build better systems for themselves and for their clients before AI even became a thing that anybody was talking about. And I didn't just teach this stuff, I built the business behind it. And that's the big difference. I founded an education platform, multiple communities, multiple events, and several masterminds, a content machine, the sales systems, the team behind it, and the operation, the system that allowed everything to run without depending on me for the day-to-day. Not everybody can say they've done that. So when I talk about AI agents, automations, GHL, business operating systems, I'm not looking at it like a random tool demo. I'm looking at it as someone who has already built real growth systems, real teams, real communities, and real operations. Now, AI is making those systems faster, smarter, and way more accessible than ever. That's what this channel is all about, helping business owners build the next generation of AI-powered business systems. Now, real quick before we dive in, if you're serious about building the next generation of AI agents in this new AI economy, comment the word system below, and we'll send you the details for our private AI community. Inside, we share workflows, maps, tools, breakdowns behind the systems I'm showing you on this channel. My job is to test what's actually working, filter through the noise, and bring you the stuff that can help you build better systems faster. So comment system below and we'll get you plugged in. If you're a business owner or even an agency owner, you're not just trying to learn the stuff, you want help actually implementing it, comment the word audit below. And that's for people who already have a business, you have real workflows, and you want this stuff set up and you want it done right. Someone from our team will reach out, get you scheduled, see if it makes sense to do one of our automation audits with you. We'll look at your CRM, your sales processes, your automations, your AI opportunities, and where your business is leaking time, speed, or revenue. All right, let's get into the actual system. And I want you to pay close attention to this through one lens, not what looks impressive, what actually saves time, creates speed, or helps you make more money. The mistake most people make is treating Codex and Claude like they're the same category. They're not. They overlap. They both write code. They both help with knowledge work. They can both reason. They can use tools, and they're moving toward more agentic workflows. But the product philosophy is what's different, and that difference is going to matter more and more over time. Here's the simplest way to think about it. Claude is betting on structured interfaces. Codex is betting on computer use. Claude wants clean boundaries. Codex wants reach. Claude wants you to define the workspace. Codex wants to operate across the computer. Claude is strong when tasks can be scoped. Codex is strong when the task lives across messy software. That is the frame. Claude's approach is clean. You point it at a project, you connect it to sources, you give it a file, folder, repo, context, you define what you want done, and Claude works inside that boundary. That is why people love Claude for writing, analysis, code review, research, and knowledge work. It feels deliberate. It feels controlled. It's good when you want the model to think deeply inside a defined context. That is valuable, especially if you care about quality, especially if you're working with documents, code bases, research strategy, writing, planning, or analysis. Claude's broader ecosystem has a clear direction. MCPs, connectors, tool use, defined interfaces, structured access to data and software. That is a strong architecture, but it depends on something important. The ecosystem has to cooperate. Somebody has to build a connector. They have to maintain maintain the MCP server. Somebody has to expose the right fields. They have to document it. They have to keep it working. And in clean software environments, that is great. But real businesses are not always clean. A lot of businesses are built on old clanky tools, weird dashboards, half-integrated CRMs, client portals, spreadsheets, browser tabs, inboxes, software nobody wants to touch, and that is where Codex becomes really interesting. Codex is not just trying to work through structured integrations. Codex is moving toward operating the computer. It can use a screen, it can click, it can type, it can browse, move between apps, and it can run work in the background without even taking over your freaking screen and your whole computer, like the rest of them. And that means its reach is different. It does not always need the software vendor to cooperate. If the app has a graphical interface, the agent may be able to use it. That is a completely different bet. Now, I want to be clear. This does not mean Codex is always better than Claude. That is a very lazy take. It depends on the work. If I'm doing deep writing, strategy, long form analysis, or structured thinking, Claude can still be excellent. If I want clean code review or high quality reasoning pass, Claude is often very strong. If I want an agent to operate across messy tools, dashboards, browser flows, old software, Codex becomes infinitely more interesting. So the real question is not which model is best. The real question is what kind of body does the agent have? That's the key idea. If we think about it, the model is the brain, but the product is the body. And the body determines what the agent can actually touch. Can it get to your files? Can it get to your browser, your CRM? What about your calendar? Maybe a vendor portal. Can it touch that really old clanky dashboard? What about the internal tool your team still uses because nobody has time to replace it? That is the body question. And right now, OpenAI and Anthropic are answering that question very differently. Anthropic's body is more structured. Claude gets access through defined services. You got the files, connectors, MCP, extensions, scoped workspaces, and clear interfaces. That's safer, cleaner, and more controlled, and often better for bounded knowledge work. OpenAI's Codex body is broader. It's trying to operate the software itself. That is messier, it's riskier, but reaches places structured integrations may not reach anytime soon. And for business automation, that difference is huge because the long tail of business software is ugly. It's not all going to get beautiful agent-ready interfaces next year. Your favorite niche CRM might not even build a perfect MCP server ever. We've seen that with very popular tools I'm not even going to name. That random vendor portal might never expose the API endpoint you actually need. That internal dashboard from 2019 is not getting redesigned for AI agents, let me tell you that. That old operations tool your team tolerates is not suddenly becoming agent native, but it has a screen. And if it has a screen, computer use agents can potentially interact with it. That is why this moment is so important. It gives AI a path into the long tail of software. Now, does this mean computer use replaces MCP? No, that's not the right framing at all. And in fact, the better framing is layered automation. Use MCP and APIs when they're available and reliable. Use computer use when work is stuck inside of a screen. Use humans where judgment, risk, or trust matters the most. And that is the real system. And this is where most people are going to get this wrong. Some people are going to say, okay, let's see, what's dead today? APIs are dead. Nah, that's kind of dumb, okay? APIs are still better for scale, for speed, reliability, logging, security, and repeatability. If you can connect two systems cleanly, don't put an agent on the task clicking around for no reason. Some of this work does not have clean access. Some work is trapped inside software, and some of this is very visual, and it's like cross-app. Requires an agent to inspect, compare, and report. And that is exactly where this Codex-style computer use becomes extremely valuable. Let me make this practical. Use Claude when the work is mostly thinking, research, writing, summarizing, strategy, analyzing documents, reviewing a code base, creating plans, working inside a clear folder or project. Use Codex when the work is mostly operating, clicking through a dashboard, testing a front-end app, reproducing a bug, checking a CRM, moving between browser tabs, pulling screenshots, inspecting software, running multiple background tasks. Use API automation when the work is clean and repeatable. Leads come in, contact gets created, tag gets applied, Opportunity gets created, webhook fires, data moves from one system to another. Use human review when the work has risk, money, client communication, legal exposure, sensitive data, public posts, deleting records, changing permissions, sending invoices, approving strategy. That is the decision framework. And if you understand that, you're already ahead of most of the market, because most people are still looking at these tools like toys. They're asking which one is cooler, which one is better. Still the question that they're asking. The better question is, what job is this agent being hired to do? That is how real business owners need to think. Claude is not one thing. ChatGPT or Codex is not one thing. These are different workers with different strengths, different bodies, different permission models, and different failure modes. And if you're building AI systems for clients, that matters, because you do not sell AI, you sell outcomes. Cleaner operations, faster follow-up, fewer missed leads, better reporting, less admin, more consistent sales processes, less founder bottleneck, and the tool only matters if it helps deliver the outcome. So when somebody asks me, should I use Codex or Claude? My answer is, where does the work live? If the work lives in documents, code, writing, research, or analysis, Claude may be the better fit. If the work lives in apps, screens, dashboards, browser flows, and messy interfaces, Codex may be the better fit. If the work lives in clean data movement, use an API. If the work lives in human trust, and this is a big factor, then go ahead and keep a human in the loop. That's the map. The big takeaway is this: Codex versus Claude is not just a model comparison anymore. It is an architecture comparison. Claude is betting on structured access. Codex is betting on computer use. Claude gets cleaner when the world builds agent-ready interfaces. Codex gets more useful when the software is messy, visual, old, or disconnected. And most real businesses have a lot of messy software. That is why this mattered. Before you go, if you're serious about building the next generation of agents in this AI economy, comment the word system below and we'll send you all the details for the private AI community, get you plugged right in. And if you're a business owner or even an agency owner and you need help finding and implementing the highest leverage automation opportunities inside your business, comment audit and someone from our team will reach out and see if it makes sense to do one of our automation audits with you. That's it for this one. I'll see you in the next video.